Oh, you see how great is our God. Classic from Solly House there. How great is our God. So I thought we'd have something a little bit different this morning for the tune. So there we go. That's one of my favourites. So here we go with percentages. Okay, just 1 second. Get things set up here. Okay. Here we go. And back to the screen. Yeah, so welcome back. Okay, so just to let you know about this week, first of all. So tomorrow is going to be reverse percentages. Now, that's a really good one to do because that's more of a B topic. This is more of a C topic today. So we're going to look at that tomorrow. And then Friday, we're going to have a break day because it's a bank holiday. And then back on Monday, I thought we could have a look at some lines because I know my year 10s are looking at doing some work on lines. That's y equals mx plus c and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's get into this maths business then. First of all, we're going to have a look at a recap on what we learnt, a couple of days ago. So that was on Monday. So this is the worksheet we looked at. So what we said was that if you have a percentage to do without a calculator, so let's say 23% of 160 without a calculator, you don't do that question in one go. It's too difficult. So what you need to do is break this down into the sections. Okay, so there's two families really of strategies. You could do the 50, 25 and 75% family or the 10%, 5%, 20% family. And it's gathering evidence up. Okay, what exactly can we find out? Well, how can we split this into easy sections? 50% probably isn't the best family way to go, so going for the 10% first would be better. So before we just do that sum to recap on what we were doing, let's go down to this, go further down this worksheet here. We need to find 50%, 25% and 75. So let's do this 24, okay? So 50%, 25% and 75%. So we were talking about some shortcuts on Monday. So this 50% is the same as a half of an amount. So if you're looking at 16 altogether, okay, oh sorry, let's do 24. Let's do the 24. So if we want 50%, 25% and 75% of 24, okay, so just ignore that line there. So if we want 50% of 24, the shortcut here is a half of that value. So 50% of 24, half of that value, give you time to think. That's right, 12. Well done. Okay. To get the quarter now, 25%, the shortcut is a quarter. Now we've already got some more information here to help us. We know that half is 12, so we could divide 24 by 4 in one go, but this 12 is a little bit of a clue because a quarter is a half and a half. Imagine having a pizza, which we had last night, and we split things in half and then split that half into half again. That's a quarter of an amount. Okay, I know it's a bit of a rough diagram, that, sorry about that, but it just explains it nicely. So half of 12 is going to be 6. And then we've got 75% to look at. 75%. Now we've got 1 quarter as 25, so 75% is 3 quarters. So going up back to this dodgy diagram again, okay, so we've got 1 quarter already, we need 3 quarters, so it's like 3 lots of that 6, which gives us 18. So from that one fact of 100% is 24, we can break it down into 50%, 25% and 75%. Right, let's look at these ones then. Okay, these are the categories, 10, 5, 20 and so on. So this is the other family. So starting with 10% of 24, we're going to move that number one place value to the right. Remember, the knocking a nought off isn't really a great way of explaining it because you haven't got any noughts here. So moving it to one place to the right, we're getting 10%, a factor of 10 smaller, and that means move the number along. Now, we haven't got any zeros, so to move this along, it means a decimal point is placed there. Okay, so 5% now. And we've got 10. Now, I always think a good way of doing this, any decimals, think of it as pounds and pence. £2.40, we want half of that, because 10% is £2.40, we want half of it, that's 120. Then we want 20%. Okay, I'm just following these guidelines there. Now we've got 10%, so to get 20%, we double that. £4.80. And you can see we're building these facts up about these percentages. Next one's 30%. So that's a 20 and a 10. So we add them together. Okay, that's going to be 80 add 40 is 120. Add 4 is 520. Add 2 is 720. So you can do it in your head. I mean, when we say do it in your head without a calculator, we can write these things down as well. And just do an add up sum as working out. There's nothing wrong with that. 40%. So we got a 20%. We double that, 480. So that's going to be 960. Okay. And the last one is 1%, which is we go back to the very beginning. We've divided by 10 to get 1%. You divide it by 10 again. It's like dividing by 100. But a shortcut way is to divide by 10 and then divide by 10. So slide that number again, and we're back to 0.24 or 24 pence. And there you've got it. So all them facts. And then you can build these facts up. Say I wanted 32%. I need a 30 and 2 of them. Or 17, I need a 10 added with a 5% and 2 of them. And so once you've got those basic facts, you can build up all sorts of percentages. So let's have a look at this question. Okay, so if I was doing this without a calculator, I decide on which family I want. So 50%, is that most helpful? Not really. So the 10% family, start there. 10% gives me 16. Slide the number, or 16.0 even. Now I need 23, so that's my target to get to 23. So a good next position would be 20%. Okay, so I double that, 32. And then I'm looking at this 3%. So I'm not far off with 20%. It's a good estimate, about 30. We need that extra 3%. So to get that, I'm going to go 1%. So we'll go to the 16. Slide it along. So that's £1.60. Thinking about decimals as pounds and pence. Put that dot in. Notice the dot's in line. It just makes it easier to understand the numbers. Okay, so that's pretty close. Now I could make 21%. I could do that in one hit and go 3%, 3 lots of 160, but I'm choosing a bit more working out here because I like doubling. So double that. Okay, so that's going to be 60 add 60 is 120. Okay, so that's 320 altogether because that doubled is 2 add the 1, 320. And then I need the 3%, which is those two added up. And if they're in line, it makes it easier to add up. 0, 8, 4, 80. Right, okay, so that's nearly 23%. But to finish off, we need a little add up sum. So we need a 20% and a 3%. Add them up. Keep them in line again. That dot is a really good reference point. £36.80. Okay. Now, if I was to do that on the calculator, what I would be doing is going okay, on the calculator, 23% is the same as 23 out of 100. So I could use this little button here, 23 out of 100. But if you've done a few of these, you realise that actually that is 0.23. Another way of writing it. So I need 0.23 of 160, 0.23 of 160, 36.8. Brilliant. Well, it's not pounds, but just in case it was pounds. Right, so 30, and that's what we got without using a calculator. So that's it, folks, for non-calculators. That was a recap on what we were doing. So find some facts. That's my clue. I wouldn't be able to do those sums in one go, but by finding facts, I pull it all together and then I can find my percentage. And just look at the amount of working out that I've done there, just for one question. Okay, just to get that £36.80. It's pretty normal to have that amount of working out for a simple sum. You can't do that in, well, some geniuses could, but I can't do it in one go. So it's a good idea to make sure you've got this amount of working out. Right, so that's a recap. What we're doing today is discount. So I want you to have a look. I've got loads of these, but I want you to have a look at this question here. So basically, there's a lot of things at the moment that are in the sale because things are not being sold because the shops are not open. So if you look online, you're getting lots of sales. What this is saying is we've got a vintage entry hoodie for 40 quid. Not bad, really. You have a look at the make on that one. I'm not allowed to say it because of digital advertising, but it's something to do with super and dry. Apparently they're pretty trendy if you're young and you like hoodies. I like hoodies. I haven't got any super dry stuff. Anyway, I'm waffling here, but they are decent make. But that's 40 quid. That'd be a good decent deal anyway. But not as good as the ski hoodies, of course. Anyway, this shop is offering a 25% discount. So what we're going to do there. Now this worksheet is designed as a non-calculator worksheet. I'm having a few technical issues with the camera, so please bear with me. Okay, that's why it's a funny sort of slant, but it's okay. We can still work out what's going on. Right, okay, so yeah, let's get back to the maths then. So not as good as the ski hoodies, but we're going to buy one of them at this discount, 25% off. So what we need to do is work out what 25% of 40 is. Okay, so to do this, we're going to turn that 25% into a decimal, or we could go for 25 out of 100 and we multiply it by 40. But the thing is, this is a non-calculator question, so we can't do that in one go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a 50% first. Should have done that question really. So 50% of 40, that's easy to do. So that's going to be half. And so 25% of 40 is going to be 10. To be honest, we could have done that in one go because 40 divided by 4 is 10, but I wanted to go through this system that we've learnt already. So what does that mean, 10? Am I paying £10 for that hoodie? That'd be super cheap, wouldn't it? But no, it doesn't mean that at all. What it means is £10 is saved. So what we need to do next for our working out is go 40 minus 10, and that comes to £30. So there we go. Okay, so that's what the big point about this is exactly the same as what we've learnt before, except when you've got that percentage, you then take it away because it makes things cheaper. Okay, So jumping to this 75% version now. Okay, let's have a closer look at that. So it's £40. We're not using a calculator. Actually, we might as well work through all of these because they're quite easy to do. So this next one, 50%. We've already worked out that 50% is £20. So the price of this is going to be 40 minus 20 equals £20. You could also say, because it's 50% off, it's 50% to pay. So £20 off, £20 to pay. On to 75. This is 3/4. We've already learned that 25% is 10. So 75% is going to be 3 lots of 10, 3/4, which is 30. So it's going to be 40 for the original, take away the discount, £10. So if ever you see anything with 75% off, and you do, Cheshire Oaks maybe, it's got a good deal on that. Right, on to 10% now. So 10% of 40. Okay, so we talked about sliding numbers, didn't we? Okay, sliding the number over. So instead of 40, slide it over one place, HTU 40, slide it over to the right, so it's 10 a factor of 10 smaller, £4. So if it's £4 off, we're going to go 40 minus 4 equals £36. Brilliant. Okay. Good morning, Miss Greenash, this morning. Thank you for joining us, by the way. Good morning to Miss Saunders as well. And Heath, well done, matey. You're on the best show of the day. Live Maths with Mr. Donman. Well done, Heath. Coming along there. Lydia, great to see you this morning too. Okay, so that's our discount sorted. Okay, now to finish off, we've got lots of these to do, but if you notice these numbers, £40 for the hoodie, £30 for the t-shirt, 140 wax jacket, 20 quid t-shirt, they're all easy numbers to deal with. So the extension here is to take the same sort of items, but you often see prices being with 99 on, so it's a bit of a con. It makes you think that you're actually buying less than you are. So let's have a look at let's see. Oh, I quite like these lumberjack jackets, hoodie jackets. I quite like them. So let's have a look at this one here, lumberjack hoodie. Okay, £64.99. So there comes a time where these numbers, although you could do that without a calculator, it becomes so difficult to do that it's time to reach for a calculator, or that question itself would be on a calculator question because there's rounding involved and it's more complicated. So to finish off this morning, let's have a look at doing the same sort of question with a calculator. Now, I'm going to make the percentage a little bit more difficult, but the process is the same. So we're going to do 35% off, and that's quite a good deal. So how do I go about this then? Actually, with a calculator, it's really straightforward. So remember that percentage means out of 100. Out of 100. And actually, that sign, if you move that one, wobble it a little bit, it actually, that slanted line makes a 1, and these two noughts make it to 100. That's why that percentage looks like it is, out of 100. Okay, so using a calculator, you could dive in and just say that's 0.35 if you like, but it's quite good to remind yourself of what it means. 35 out of 100. So I like to write it like that. Okay, if you're short for time, writing it like that is perfectly okay as well. Okay, in fact, that's more efficient, saves you time. Okay, So we multiply that by the amount, 64.99. Okay, these are both the same, by the way. I'm just showing you that you could write your 35 out of 100 in the same way. So I like using this fraction button too. So 35, use that wheel thing. Okay, press that. Okay, so 35 out of 100 times 64.99. Okay, and then equals. Now you can see there's a lot of decimals to deal with. All right, so we're only interested in 2 decimal places, but be careful. If you look closely here, that 6 means that 4 goes to a 5. Okay, now I'd be inclined to leave your number like that and round it right at the end. So I'm going to leave that number with all them decimal places. Okay, these are the same. Just remind you so you're not confused. You only need one or the other version of that. The only difference is that 35 out of 100 or 0.35. So this is the money coming off. Okay, now don't panic about all them decimal places yet. And a good tip is leave that on your calculator. Okay, now what we're going to do next is we're going to take that away from the original, because that is our discount. That's coming off the price. Okay, and as I say, a good idea to round this right at the end. Now that's still on the calculator. This is a little trick that's really useful. So I'm going to do 64.99, take away the answer, the previous answer that was on the calculator. So press that, take away the previous answer, which was 22.7465, and that's all I need to do. So now I can do me rounding. 42.24. That 3 isn't a 5, so I don't need to round at all. Okay, and it's useful to let whoever's reading your answer know you've rounded it. So I've rounded this to 2 decimal places. Put it in brackets 2dp. Okay, just to make sure you check this is correct without doing the trick with the answer, just to show you that that's right. Okay, and there we have the right answer. Okay, so £42.24, 35%'s a good deal. Okay, and that's how we do these questions of discount with a calculator. Find the percentage, take it off. Okay, now just to finish off, time's up, but I will say that the process for interest is exactly the same as what we've learned today. The only difference is people are making money out of you. So it goes the other way. Okay? So if you're talking about interest in banks, the working out is exactly the same. 35% interest on a loan of £64.99. The difference here in the working out would be at the end. So interest. So interest is added on. So instead of you taking away, you add it on. But the maths process is exactly the same. And sometimes you have to read carefully in the question. Are you taking that percentage off, or are you adding it, depending on what you're working out? Is it interest, which is added on, discount, taking away? Okay, maths fans. Well, that's it for today. So tomorrow we're going to look at 2 things, which is reverse percentage questions and also percentage discount. Sorry, percentage increase or decrease. Not percent. We've done percentage discount today. Percentage increase or decrease. It's kind of a similar thing, but there's a little formula that we need to learn to do that. Okay, so 2 things tomorrow. Please make sure you're there. Okay, we've got a good turnout this morning. Okay, we had 40 odd views yesterday, but again, it'd be better if people watch these videos live. It makes more sense. So without further ado, that's it for today. So take care, be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay.